Am I am I alive? I don't feel like taking my scarf off right now. This Carmelo Anthony trial got me so messed up because, and I need to stop listening to the commentary because folks are they clickbait, and I'm not used to all this clickbait that goes on. And if the judge had any connection to the Metcalf and it wasn't disclosed, that's ground for mistrial. I'm just gonna wait and see what the jury does. People really have a hard time with black folks protecting themselves, and we need more black judges, foundational black judges who, because there's two type of different black people. There are two. There are black people who who don't want to acknowledge our past, and if we mention it, we're victim. But if the Jews bring up the Holocaust, these same blacks will never say that against the Jews because they know the Jews are beyond there. They know Jews don't play. Okay, about the Holocaust that didn't happen on this soil, but yet and still the government. Never mind. Anyway, but when it comes to the atrocities that were done to us and that are still being done to us daily, um, where we don't want to acknowledge it. And this is where we are, and it's the insanity of it all. Um, we're supposed to take abuse. Schools don't know how to deal with bullies. School bullies always have more rights. The rapists have more rights than the rape victims. It's just like this. We have a society. We have taken the principles of innocent until proven guilty, and then all these women, these feminists who are now looking for a retirement plan, hollering that they were raped when they were in consensual sexual relationships at a young age, and now they need some money, so they go. They don't help the victims because the real victims, they're silent. The real victims don't run the court. They don't want they money. They know money can't correct what they're feeling, but we just have the bully is always protected, and I'm gonna just wait and try to stay calm and try not to listen to any more commentary. Meek is visibly shaken. And just think about a world where you were treated as chattel. You were not even considered human beings. They took your baby. Some fed it to alligators. Some took your babies and you never saw your babies ever again. Raped, had no say so over your body whatsoever. And we we get traumatized by name calling. We get traumatized by post online. The Bible said they'll be weaker. I mean, they'll be smarter but weaker, and because they're not used to being mistreated, they're not used to it, and it's sad seeing her suffer like that. It's it's sad. That's why it's important that Generation X step up. Now there are two types of black people. There are the Clarence Thomas type. There's the I call them Jack and Jill Negroes. The reason why the elite, the black elite, they're generations of wealth. And then you got the ones like me, first time anything, first time lawyer, you know, first time. So I don't have the pedigree. I don't have the family history. I'm not a Jack and Jill Negro. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, and and I went to school with kids who didn't think much. think I was that much because I lived in the projects, which wasn't a project. It was a privately owned building, but eventually they started taking in Section 8. So you know what that you know what happens after that. Not all Section 8, but some. You know what goes down after that. So it's tough watching this. It's very tough waiting for the outcome, but it's been very hard. I watched a trial go down with my cousin. I sat there. This is why we need to revisit what it means to have a jury of your peers. Those people on the jury cannot relate to them young people. They can't. They can't relate to today's world. We'll see with the verdict. We'll see because I gotta ignore the commentary. I have to. I'm gonna stop listening to the commentary. One, most of them are not attorneys, so I can't hold them to a standard I would have a legal. But the Caucasian lawyers, I'm disappointed with the Fox News and every. I'm disappointed. I'm so disappointed. They're mad at us. You snatched my ancestors. You kidnapped them. You brought them here. You psychological warfare. Everything. You tried to break our spirits, but you couldn't. You couldn't. You couldn't. Because look, the fact that I get up and have a smile on my face lets me know I'm a winner. You stacked all the decks against me and I still achieved. That's why I don't argue with racists. I don't argue. Why waste my precious breath on people who are ignorant, who are not on my level? Mentally, physically, emotionally. And y'all need to stop if they don't put their hands on you, ignore them. Ignore them. Because that's what they want. That's what they want. They want us to react. They want us to say, oh, see, you're violent. F them. Who cares? If they're not your boss, if they're not your customers, if they don't contribute anything to your bills, walk away. And these platforms got to be more responsible. Everybody shouldn't have access to a platform. I know we talk about freedom of speech, but there's also responsibility. There's all every speech is not protected under the law. You're free to say what you want, but the consequences you can't control. Like they said, one example, yelling fire in a crowded theater. That's not protected. There's a punishment for doing something like that. Defamation is a punishment for defaming somebody. Slander. When you slander somebody, there's a price. So yeah, you have the freedom to say whatever you want, but be prepared for the consequences. We are not used to being held accountable. That has been the biggest problem with people not being held accountable. We need more black judges because we need people to see themselves in the defendant, to see that there's equal protection. When you don't uphold the Constitution, you should be removed from the bench. You should be your bar license should be taken away from you because you're not upholding the oath. Because when I took the oath, it didn't tell me to only uphold the Constitution for white folks. It didn't tell me. But we need to revisit what does it mean to have a juror of the peer, and then why all the selection? How do you come up with these things? Because I don't see very many young people called to jury duty. So where are you taking the names from? Because it's always older white people. It's rare you see young people. So what we need to revisit this because we need somebody to be able a peer. We need to define what a peer is in a legal sense. Is it your age group? Is it this? Is it that? What is it? There should be a mixture of young, old. It shouldn't be all old. It shouldn't be all Caucasian. It should be it should reflect the community. And that's why I caution black people to be careful with. I never wanted to live in a predominantly white community. I wanted a mixed community, either a predominantly black community or a mixed community. I never wanted. I remember when we moved into my first house, the neighbor's boyfriend went on a porch and was showing all his gun collection to let us know because he saw a black couple with three small children, and two of them were boys, little babies. And that's what he did to let us know. My kids grew up. My neighbor said, you got such good, well mannered kids. I'm supposed to. She loved us. My neighbor loved us, always making us cookies for Christmas. When we moved, she cried. Our white neighbors, we had white neighbors when we were in Patterson. She loved watching me with my children. She watched me, my pregnancies and everything. And we sit in the backyard and we talk, and she told me, she said, enjoy them now because when they get older, it gets worse. She said, this is the fun part. But I never fit the stereotype. Never. Unconsciously, never. I know my name is Shawana, and they make little jokes. Oh yeah, the girl with all the consonants in her name. They do their little slick talk. I went through it. I went through it. I went through it. Because I'm not supposed to be in the boardroom. I'm not supposed to be giving legal advice to the CFO, to the president, to the vice president. God put me there. God gave me access. But I'm done. Um, yeah, I gotta cool it with the commentary because we need to start appointing more black judges. Yeah, I'm sorry you got to we sometimes you got to use skin color. Once you got the credential, but yeah, we need more people that can relate and see themselves in the people that come before them. We got quite a few municipal and superior court judges, but we need more federal. We need more. Yeah, we need more superior. We need more judges on the federal level and the state level to avoid situations like this. I'm done.